It's me, JK. Hello, mentors. Thank you so much for clicking and watching my video again with curiosity and kindness. I'm a lifelong learner, language learner, want to be science coach and great thinker. This is my Learning Log channel. I hope I can grow with you, sharing my learning journey with mentors who can give me advice and helps about my curious and personal questions. Ideally, classroom routine and management prevent any situations require consequences. Because that is why classroom management, classroom routines exist. Further question, is consequences necessary? If you are a teacher, you might think yes. If you are an admin, there is a chance you might say no, because I often hear teachers say their hands are tied. But one time at PD, the whole admin visited the school site. One of the admin doubted the efficiency of the curriculum and instructional strategy prevent students' behavior. Ouch. They might have some reasonable logic behind, but that definitely makes teachers feel frustrated. Why is there such a big gap? And then what is the common ground? We all agree the students could be outrageous, so we need rules that falls into the category of classroom norm, routine, and management. My driving question for today is, what would I do when the rule is broken? While I'm thinking about this topic, I cannot stop thinking about one boy from my student teaching class. I would say he is not notorious boy, who is often sent to the dean because of aggressive behavior. I had other classes with the kids with the behavior kids. At the time, surprisingly, I was okay with them. But this boy, I'll call him C. What C did in the classroom is tedious, mischievous things, and he was disruptive. For example, he played with a yardstick in the classroom, and I say no, it should not be touched. But he kept playing with it because he played with it, and because he played with it, even though I asked him to stop and made a commotion with it, and the other boys liked to see the game between me and him. And the whole classroom mood was shaken, and I lost the battleground. He always did the similar things in the classroom to ruin the whole classroom norm. In the same classroom, he had his best buddy, almost like a big brother. And so C always asked me to move his seat next to the big brother and wanted to sit with the big brother whenever he was assigned for the group work. At one point, I tried to give him a consequences, not giving him a seat next to the big brother. It does not work because his behavior got worse and kept complaining about it and ignored my instruction afterwards. When my mentor asked me to contact parents, I was a little reluctant considering a relationship with him. But I accepted at the end my mentor's advice in contact his parents. I also gave him a big brother seat as a positive enforcement, and that works better than before. At last, he did not play with a yardstick. He just talked and copied the big brother's work. At the last day, when I finished my student teaching, I read all the papers again they gave me at the beginning of the session. I wrote the note. They wrote on the note card as icebreaker. His favorite subject is biology. I realized that he kept sending me signals for a whole time he was struggling. I felt deeply sorry. I wish I could be more skillful and have a more mental space to look around, but it was really hard for me as a student teacher. What I learned from this lesson, I need to prepare consequences. Consequences is for helping, not punishing them. Contacting parents is not tattletaling. It's a good chance to conference or concert with parents. There are behaviors, sometimes there are reasons behind. 3 takeaways. When is consequences needed? List out for the situations requires consequences. I read an article, Why Teachers Need Consequences, from teacherforheart.com. It says a big yes to consequences. I feel empathy for most teachers who struggle and try their best. What I need to do is that I'm going to list of a situation requires the consequences, because I don't want to overuse the consequences for everything. Um, there are situations need for consequences, especially when you teach 25 kids at the site. Others see and learn how others are treated and follows rule. The classroom is a little society. Even if I did not provide the consequences, there will be consequences naturally. But there are situations harm safety of others, need action right away. For example, I'm going to give my students consequences anything related with the safety, especially I'm in science classroom. It's a serious matter. Safety is the first one for everybody. Academic falsehoods such as cheating will get consequences. I know some school banned it on consequences of late work. I understand both sides of concern between negative enforcement and accountability value. What I would consider to give them extra point for on-time workers. What could be an option for consequences? I admit nothing new information on this slide, but it is good to know what ingredients you have in your pantry just in case you need. The article I snipped this table in the slide has a good point that educator might need to think about. Why need to think reason behind the problem behavior. As I mentioned earlier, my previous student C would behave better if I have a conference with him and suggest him extra support for his study. Teachers need to build a relationship. Sometimes I feel like the relationship is the most important key. The other thing I learned is that concept of logical consequences. What consequences distinguishes from punishment is the consequences of focuses on opportunity for students to learn from behavior. When C plays with a yardstick, I should give him a chance to put yardstick back in the right place instead of taking a yardstick from him, or make him organize the yardsticks in advance. As a next step, according to methodgiraffes.com, I like the article started with a principle, love and logic behind the consequences at the beginning of the article. Realistically, I do not think there is a time for behavior kids to write a reflective essay and doubt they're gonna follow through. One of my motto was respecting others. Do not waste other people's opportunity and chance to learn because of your behavior. But what C wanted is that everybody waited for him until he can catch up. I think that is why Big Brother strategy works. How does it delivered? I realize again, settling a rule is very important. As important as a Justice Department in our system or First Amendment. New teacher might not have enough experience in cases to prepare enough, but I think experienced teacher also could not master 100% for every situation because students evolve. They always come up with new and innovative ways to disrupt the classroom. Even though we cannot complete the perfect list, still worthy to make your own standard and boundaries. Another thing is that rules should be said out loud as possible as can be. One of the arguments you hear from students would be, I did not know that. Highly recommended to announce the whole word, including parents, students, and even walls. I found out warning strategy might work for the situation you did not state it early. Disruptive students control your class from teacherfortheheart.com article suggested 8 method you could give a warning sign. Didn't you appreciate it when police officer gave you a warning instead of a ticket? Let the classroom know the rule and the consequences and agree with it. And use a warning system. Give them consequences on matters you and the students agree. as the way expected. Last one, I wanted to touch the article from NGSS Biology blog. In the article, author suggested the classroom circle to restore the harm. My thought twisted from the main point of this article. It leaves me thinking about the relationship with the students who got punishment, not victim students. I was a student who grudged on so long. It might have been because it was punishment with a shame, not consequences with a logic and love, or I had such a narrow-minded or on weighing on everything what other people think of me at that time. So I think it is important to retouch the relationship between educator and students, making sure delivering the message you got the consequences because of your behavior, not because all about you. Quick recap. Prepare consequences. Use consequences for learning with a love and logic, and consider the relationship. From my more question I want to hear from you mentors is, what is your best go-to consequences? Here's the list of resources I read and referenced. And thank you for watching, my mentors. Give me an advice and I'll wait here for you. See you next time.